Is it not completely mental that your university, college or school doesn't have a class or a semester which is completely dedicated to you getting a job? If your school does, drop me a comment down below. I'd love to know whether it's actually useful. If not, I wrote a book this year. I haven't released it. If you'd like me to release the book, then at any point you can drop me a comment and just say book and I'll think about releasing it. And it was called 9 Uncommon Sense Lessons to Get Hired. And it was mainly targeted at graduates. I've just picked out 5 to share with you today. And I call it uncommon sense because there is a lot of popular dogma or cliches that is available on the internet, which is just complete horseshit, and people perpetuate over and over again. And particularly if you're a young person and you're looking at the internet and you're looking at people who are older than you who are perpetuating a myth or a cliche, and you think, oh fuck, that must be the truth, but actually it's not. So here's 5 of them. I hope you enjoy it, and let me know if you agree, disagree, or just couldn't give a shit. Uncommon sense lesson number 1, busyness is a form of laziness. Now this is something that I first heard from an author called Tim Ferriss. And the busyness thing a lot of times can apply to both professionals and graduates, where they will basically turn around and say, oh, I haven't got the time to do this thing. Graduates will tend to say, you know, they need time to study or go out. Professionals will say they need to see their family, their friends. Now ultimately, when you think about getting a job, should probably be, apart from if you have kids, I suppose, your number 1 priority in life. This is very similar to the saying, you love what you give time to, like no time to finding a job. Don't be upset that you don't have a job. This also comes down to being effective at planning, being organized, and laying out your time in a strategic way so that you have a certain amount of time, and I've covered it in other videos, probably a couple of hours a week, when you're being really quite meticulous about looking for a job. But busyness can be a form of laziness. We've all been guilty of it, particularly, you know, spending time on your phone, going through emails, just generally, you know, wasting time and wanting to look busy so that people don't think you're feckless and useless. Lesson number 2, quality over quantity. Now this is a huge thing. Just today I went through LinkedIn and there was a post from a dad with a photo of his daughter, because apparently LinkedIn is now just a fucking social media platform, and he was moaning about how his daughter's amazing and she's applied to 17 jobs on Indeed. No one's gotten back to her and how dare they, and employers are just complete and utter wankers. The delusion aside, what really doesn't often get talked about in applications, and I shared this in the last video, which was a friend of mine who's making progress through doing like 150 applications and getting nowhere, to doing a couple of applications and getting a few interviews. It is about quality over quantity. If you have the opportunity to sit there and do 3 to 5 quality applications a week, I defy you to not make more progress than some guy who is one click applying 200 jobs a week. Quality always beats quantity, and I've seen that since 2013. Good CVs matter, good cover letters matter, thoughtful answers to open application questions matter. Now, does it take a long time? Yes, initially. But once you start to get the habit of it, it's going to get better and better and better. And what you've got to think about is this is a small amount of time which is going to affect a significant proportion of your life. Put the time in, learn the skill, put it on repeat. Lesson number 3, no one cares about you, they care about themselves. Now, if you remember in lesson number 2, I talked about some guy moaning about his daughter and no one getting back to her because she's amazing. Why did that happen? Because no one gives a shit. That's a really important place to start. No one cares, just like you don't really care about companies. You probably don't really care about that many people. It's too difficult. Our brains would explode. So you need to change your mindset of what I would say is really a victim mindset. And the thing is, you could be right. They could be racist. They could be sexist. They could be ageist. They could be nosist. It doesn't matter. That still doesn't help you to fix your problem. Blaming other people, blaming other stuff that is not you and that you cannot control is completely irrelevant. It doesn't matter. You can be right or you can be happy. Personally, I want to be happy. So then we start to think, how can I find another way? And what I'm really trying to think about is, what is it really that the employers want? And what are the reasons that they could say no? Not are the reasons that they could say yes? And really just being pretty honest with yourself, right? Have I really written a good CV? Have I written a good cover letter? Am I doing good applications? Am I preparing effectively objectively, a lot of times when people will talk to me one-on-one and they pay for that time, and I end up kind of stripping apart the fact that really they've not done very much, and they have paid me so that I can just say to them, you're a liar and you're a bit lazy. It's this constant sense of change your approach, change your approach. If it doesn't work, change your approach. Lesson number 4, for when you feel suicidal or homicidal. Now, I have observed a lot of people's mental health over the past 11 years. I'm not a mental health professional, nor do I purport to be, but I have spent a significant amount of time with people in a pastoral context. And what I'd say to you is, if you find yourself getting really angry, really frustrated, feeling like you're lapsing into a black hole or nothing matters, or you're feeling worthless or hopeless, it's time to press pause. Now, if you are a type A achiever, a lot of this stuff you will be susceptible to, busyness, quality, an overinflated sense of self, in the sense of going, why does no one love me? Why does nobody care about me? Why am I not enough? Because you generally find that you're a bit neurotic. I'm a bit like that, so I'm not criticizing anybody else. But when you're starting to feel like you're burning out, and essentially what that feels like for me is just feeling a little bit hopeless, like this is completely pointless, it's time to take a step back. It's time to have a rest for the afternoon, take the weekend off, maybe take a week off if you can afford to. And you might go, holy shit, are you insane? How am I going to take an afternoon, a day, a weekend, a week off? Believe me, the return that you are going to get on your investment in yourself, in your self-care, is enormous. It is incalculable, and you are essentially defying your biology, your genetics, and your mind, which is saying to you, dude, I had so much shit that dying feels less painful than living, because that's essentially what suicide is, right? It's saying living is more painful than dying, the proposition of doing that. And of course, if you're feeling really unwell, then you should seek medical help. But most people are just fucking burnt out. They're burnt out and they need to go and do some nice things for themselves that makes them feel good. Eat some nice food that makes you feel good. Watch some nice things. Go and see nice people. Go and just surround yourself by love, and returning to this place where you go, oh my God, I'm a beautiful human being, and it doesn't matter whether I have a job or not. It doesn't matter about what I'm doing right now or how much money that I earn. This does not define me as a human being. And once we reconnect with that sense of self, then we can get on with this relatively simple business of getting a job. And finally, lesson number 5, train hard, compete easy. Now, this is some simple rhetoric from sports coaching, which I'm a massive fan of. I am a little bit obsessed with performance coaching and this idea of looking at lots of different disciplines and how you can get the very best out of people. And essentially, it all goes back to a video that I watched many, many years ago of Usain Bolt, who is the fastest man in the world. And he is on a blazing hot red tarmac in Jamaica, sweat pouring off him. A couple of his mates are training with him. There's nobody there. Like, no one cares. And he's really labored breathing. And to the camera, he said, this is really what it's all about. He said, I go to the Olympics and everyone sees me and they think there's some amazing thing. But where that comes from is me coming to the track where no one cares and doing it over and over again thousands of times. Now, luckily, to find a job, you don't have to do that. You don't have to train for 4 years. But having some form of training process in place, dispelling the arrogance or ignorance of thinking that just because you're smart, you can get a job, and thinking, right, there are skills that I need to acquire. There are probably, writing skills, public speaking skills, problem solving skills, interpersonal skills. How can I acquire these skills? How can I practice them and be sure that I'm doing them correctly? So when the time comes for me to put these skills to the test, I'm not caught with my pants down. Guys, I hope that you enjoyed this video. As I said at the start, this comes from a book that I haven't published. But if you'd like me to publish the book, then just comment book down below and let me know which uncommon sense lesson you like the most. Bye.
No.